I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Monday, March 25th. After more than a year of pleas and protests, rallies and studies, funds have now been announced for the search of the Prairie Green landfill north of Winnipeg. The hope to locate the remains of Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris. And on Friday, their families, along with the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, met with 3 levels of government, a meeting where 2 of those governments confirmed a combined $40 million towards the search, half from the feds, half from the province. And with the trial of suspected serial killer Jeremy Skibicki scheduled for next month, Manitoba will also provide $500,000 towards the mental health needs of families. The federal government an additional $200,000. AMC Grand Chief Kathy Merrick said Friday's news made for a bittersweet and historic day. Meanwhile, Canberra Harris says she's grateful a commitment is now in place.
It's very bittersweet. The $40 million that was committed today will help start the process of searching the landfills. I just wanted to thank the Premier for his commitment, as well as to the federal government for their commitment at this point in time, because those were the 2 levels of government that we had to ensure that we spoke to, that they were able to speak to each other to ensure that this happened here in Manitoba. So I give them that. And we will not allow anymore for our women to end up in landfills. We have done a lot of work. We have lobbied. We have gone coast to coast to coast to be able to ensure that our women from First Nations have a home to come home to, and that we speak for them, that we talk about them, and that we bring them home.
It's been a long road, and back in January, I myself filed a complaint of discrimination against the province of Manitoba, as well as the previous Progressive Conservative Party, for the levels of discrimination faced by my families over the last year. So I can definitely say that it is a step forward for Indigenous peoples, and it's about taking back that narrative from those who stole it from us, and it's going to be survivor and family-led going forward. It's incredibly important to be able to provide those mental health supports to the victims' families who are going through very real and gruesome realities. We're going through a court process right now, and I'm not gonna lie, going back in November with the pretrial, that was the hardest 2 weeks of my life to ever have to go through. I'm listening to what's being done to your mom and sitting in the same room as the guy who did it. It's not okay, and it's imperative for us to be able to be there to support families during this tough process and time, because when we are not there, it's those kinds of gaps and injustices that continue to fail our people, like my mother, for example. She didn't have mental health supports growing up, and that led her to being homeless and on the streets and losing her children to the child welfare system, the very same system that she fell victim to as a child. And so it's about finally stepping up to those statistics and saying, we're not going to take those statistics and numbers anymore, you're going to do something about it.
An Algonquin chief has voiced concerns about a proposed nuclear waste disposal facility near Ottawa. A witness before the House of Commons Environment and Sustainable Development Committee, Quebec First Nation Chief Lance Haymond says he's worried about possible risks to the regional water supply. Earlier this year, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission approved an above-ground waste disposal facility at Chalk River, about 180 kilometers northwest of Ottawa. The project still needs the approval of the Environment Minister. Quebec is part of a legal challenge against it. Chief Haymond is concerned the facility's waste would potentially seep into the Ottawa River.
The waste is going to leak into the Ottawa River, and that is basically our complaint. Why was this site selected? We believe it's just simply a matter of convenience. In this view, it's easiest to push the waste of the perimeter to the property. In our view, it has the potential to poison our water supply and immediately destroy an old-growth forest with active bear dens and other species at risk.
Hi, I'm Dennis Ward, host of Face to Face. Coming up on our next episode, I'll be sitting down with author and former broadcaster, including the one-time host of this show, Michael Hutchinson. We'll be discussing his award-winning Mighty Muskrats series of books for young readers. Tune in Tuesday on APTN or listen to the Face to Face podcast. Download and subscribe on your favorite player.
And finally, Federal Northern Affairs Minister Dan Vandell has announced new funding for the Kavalik Hydro Fiber Line. announced at the 23rd Arctic Energy and Resource Symposium. The $2.8 million will support engineering, design, and environmental fieldwork costs for the project, led by the Rankin Inlet-based Nukik Corporation. With plans for dual power transmission and fiber lines from northern Manitoba to 5 Nunavut communities, the project will boost their internet connectivity and reduce their reliance on diesel generators. Construction on the Kavalik hydrofiber line is expected to start in 2028. And that's your APTN News Brief for Monday, March 25th. I'm Rick Harp.